Estás viendo Canal América, televisión dominicana para el mundo.
A Time for True show is sponsored by the Office of Dr. Bernard Fialkoff, a periodontal, dental implant and laser specialist in New York City, for over 40 years. Dr. Fialkoff was honored by the International College of Dentists and Pierre Fauchard, and received the Presidential Lifetime Humanitarian Honor from the White House. Call us at 718-229-3838.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your fears.
Welcome to A Time for Truth show. I'm your host, Dr. Bernard Fialkoff, and it's a pleasure to welcome you back on the show again. We have a very interesting episode because we have someone multifaceted and really energetic and spiritual, and I can go on, but I think the best thing is just to go ahead and introduce her to you. So engineer, let's put up the pictures of our special guest today, Nikki Shannon Keues-Stinnette of Jacksonville, Florida. A mother of three, there you go. A mother of three who also somehow finds the time to be a distinguished community leader and advocate, a mentor, and a strategic alliance manager for doitforthekids.org. There you see her picture. This doitforthekids.org was originally founded by Muhammad Ali and Milton Bullock. Apostle Keues is world-renowned as a spiritual leader, being a supporter of Stop the Violence, Foundation for a Drug-Free World, and Love with Love. Her breadth of experience includes participation as a former U.S. Air Force intelligence veteran, the regional director for United Global South, the owner and founder of Just My People magazine, a citizen journalist and reporter, and worldwide national ambassador for the New Order and National Human Rights Organization. In her youth, she was honored as a Presidential Award winner and was a former junior Olympian in track and field. And on top of the whole thing, the drum major of her high school. Nikki's mantra is love people, nature, and earth. She espouses the bigger picture, the future, and starting with core values, love of self, and humanity towards others. You know, and I could go on speaking about her accomplishments and all she does and has done. But you know what? We'd run out of time, so let's Buddha bring her up live and bid a warm welcome to Nikki Shannon Keues-Stinnette to A Time for Truth show.
Hello, everyone.
How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Just honored and happy. That's simple with me.
thank you for taking the time, because to be honest with you, you really have accomplished so much. I want to get right to it. I want to ask you something, because I've never heard of somebody so young getting a presidential award. What was it like to win a presidential award in 5th grade?
I honestly, in the 4th grade, my mother was told that I was incapable of learning and that I had ADD, ADHD, hyper attention deficit disorder. 5th grade, I mastered the torus equation. What goes into the universe comes out. And my 5th grade teacher, Miss Ray, didn't even know what I was speaking about. I knew stuff, it's just I liked recess and lunch. It was more fun than sitting in the classroom. And next thing you know, we have an orientation, and I'm on the stage, and they're handing out presidential awards, and Bill Clinton signed off on my award. And I said, "Who's Ryu Clinton?" Because his initials, it looks like R-I-U, not Bill. I was like, "Who's Ryu Clinton?" And my grandmother bust out laughing, and she was in her 50s, 60s at the time. She bust out laughing. She goes, "Baby, that's Bill. That's Bill." And I was like, "Oh, the guy on TV. Okay." And I took the award home. I didn't know. I was young. It's the 5th grade. I liked recess, dodgeball, jump ropes, but it was for mathematics and science. I understood. I loved to read, and I
Wow.
read a lot of National Geographics, and I had the children encyclopedias at first. And then I didn't watch TV. I just loved to read and watch the Weather Channel. But the thing is, mathematics and the torus equation, what you put into the universe is what you receive. It's like a donut, but it's a vacuum. And I understood it at a very young age because I was informed by my grandparents who raised me. Old school.
Beautiful.
I'm old school,
Wow.
100% old school.
Well, you know what? Congratulations. That's really quite something. You know, it's often said that, you know, people don't understand child prodigies and geniuses, and, you know, so makes sense what you went through. Let me ask you a question. How did it feel? Because, you know, you went on to be a junior Olympian in track and field. So how was that? How did you feel, and how did that occur? Tell me.
Yeah, I grew up in a disturbed household. When I was back with my mother, she got custody of me. Um, and I didn't want to go home. So I started running. And I was very, very fast, extremely fast. And with me being Lakota Sioux, with my other heritages, um, I was called Running Wind. I ran so fast that I could literally hear the wind in my ears. And next thing you know, I'm at Sarah Junipero High School in San Diego, California. And they saw me running so fast that I left the basketball behind when I was on the JV basketball team. The track coach came up to me and said, "Let's try track and field." Next thing you know, I took the school to our first ever junior Olympian in Sacramento, California. Championship, the Junior Olympics. And that was my first ever plane flight. And they honored us on the plane saying they're going to the Junior Olympics. I ran the 100, the 200, the 4x1, and the 100, well, the 4x1. And I beat the fastest girl in the world. I don't want to bring her name up, but she was from Jamaica, and I whoop that behind. And I'm short. I'm only 4'11". I whooped her behind. And that name was Nikki Hall at the time. I was adopted. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it's just, it was phenomenal. All the people in the stands and they're cheering. And I didn't know my grandparents were in the audience. I'm glad they were there. Family is very important to me.
Well,
And
that's
it
quite
was just beautiful.
that's quite amazing, and you know, it's interesting how you just excel at so many things. And then I want to ask you something, because then you go on, and I mean, there's a lot of other things I'm going to ask you, but this one is so interesting that we can't just leave it behind toward the end of the show. So then you end up meeting Muhammad Ali and Milton Bullock. Now, tell us about this and how this occurred.
A really good friend of mine, Chili Mose, he was there. My daughter passed away. There's a tattoo. I went through a mental breakdown years after she passed. It hits you. When you love somebody and they pass, it hits you. We all know that feeling. And I was going through a mental breakdown, and I got ordained apostle during the breakdown. I wasn't expecting that. I even said, what in the world does an apostle do? Even though I know Acts of the Apostles and Corinthians and all the different versions of the Bible. There's over 119 of them. I still know them all. And next thing you know, Chili calls me up with Sweet Alice Harris. And Chili Mose, he freed James Brown when he stole suits before he was James Brown, so he'd be famous. And he went to jail. Chili calls me and he says, Apostle, you ready? I said, for what? He goes, it's happening. His Parkinson's, and he goes, he would like for you to pray over him. And I said, Mr. Ali? And he said, Nikki, it's happening. And everybody was crying and everything, and I'm boo-hooing. And I had to suck it up like a soldier, military. That's my mindset. And he said his last words, I love you all. I love my people. I fought for my country. And I said the prayer. And it wasn't a Muslim prayer. It wasn't a Christian prayer. It was just respect. And him transitioning in English to a higher spiritual realm. And yeah, it was beautiful. It's a beautiful family and what they do. Everything he stood for, Cassius, was amazing. Still is.
He really, he has so many interesting quotes and statements that he made, showing how he really was about humankind. He wasn't about one religion, one race. He was about humanity, and he was about rights. He wasn't trying to just do something to gain popularity or to make conflict, but he was trying to make points that he felt. I've seen this about him in his life. Tremendous courage also, fighting two of the most feared fighters in history, Sonny Liston and George Foreman. Amazing.
Yeah, he would always crack the joke, I'm so pretty. And I'd be like, prettier than me. He'd be like, stop it, Nikki. But I like to mess with people. It's my thing. But it's called smack talking. But I'm behaving.
And
He was beautiful.
how? Let me ask you a question. And you also were you know Milton Bullock, who the Platters, right? Isn't he the Platters?
Yes, Milton and Muhammad Ali. You want to talk about smack talking? That was some funny stuff. Them two together. That was hilarious. You want to talk about the gut, the laugh from the gut, and you can't control it? They would go at everything. But at the end, it was adult conversation. They got to the point. They spoke about music and lyrics inspiring the future and the people coming together and being united. Old school tactics, elderly sitting on the porch, watching the kids fall down, play with sticks and strings, and drink out the water hoses. It was beautiful to watch them. I needed to see that when I met both of them at that time in California. I needed to be reminded of that, and I didn't know I needed that. But now that I'm older and everything else, it'll never be replaced. Yeah, that's some good stuff. Smack talking, good friends, shooting the breeze, and
Very
yeah,
nice. Very, very nice. Tremendous memory. Let me ask you a question. What stimulated you to found your magazine?
when my daughter passed away, I didn't know being in the military there was insurance on the kids. I didn't know. Never thought about it. My daughter passed away. I got 10 grand put in my bank account. And her name is Amaya. And I didn't know what to do with the money. So I started a magazine called Just My People, supporters of the people in underground music. And at that time, I was volunteering for Simply United Global. And I became South Region Director and I ran 7 states. But the reason I got appointed to that position is I regionalized the United States and then I went city by city. But with me, with the passion for music, I have lyrics tattooed on my arm. I love positive lyrics in music. I listen to the message. And I went city by city and I just listened to the people, understood what was going on with the music. They speak the truth. And like I said earlier, every emotion you have, there's a song. Every emotion you have, there's a song for it. And so I went city by city, and pretty much I had a theme song anywhere I went. And they knew my little behind was showing up. And it was just so much fun to get to know the people, understand their situations, what's going on, and just vibing with them, vibing. Like Milton and Muhammad Ali, just kicking it, as we say, kicking it, playing spades, Connect Four, Uno, checkers, chess, all that. And that's what I did. I received people's poetry. I lost my mother. My brother passed away. I used to be an alcoholic. Whatever, they would write poetry and I would publish it. And next thing you know, Totem Sports calls from, not Venezuela, what's it, Brazil. Totem Sports calls and they wanted my magazines. Next thing you know, I'm shipping to Eldoret, Kenya, and then Algeria, the federalization of Pakistan. I was shipping everywhere. and it was all completely free. I just sent a mass email out with all the bills, like costs of everything, and people donated and knocked the bills out. And yeah, I just inspired people. I think that's what baby girl would want me to do in her name, in her honor. Just my people. Get to know us. And yeah, I was inspired after
Beautiful.
the depression. Yeah.
You know what? Beautiful solution. And I'm sure she really was something that she would have wanted and wants. And so I want to ask you, within that same vein of spirituality, because you being a very spiritual person, a leader, an apostle, tell us about your philosophy about what's going on in the country with the violence and the drugs.
Yes. How I see it, I honestly feel they want mass confusion. I remember my grandparents speaking to me and showing, for instance, Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. And there's a white van and it says no race missing. And it's the Klan. And then it shows, I'm thinking it's Chicago, people with the cardboard boxes throwing them in the streets. I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. I feel they want a racial divide. They want to keep us in fear. And I'm not even going to bring up the vaccinations and everything else. That's a whole nother topic. But fear. Warmongers. I don't know how do you say that? Warmongers.
Yeah, warmonger. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I see people standing together, but overall, fear FEMA camps, and they have shows and they're showing coffins and stuff, and they put it on TV, and then they say FEMA's here to help you, and it's just mass confusion, and they want us confused, but it's not working, and with the technology and everything that's out, and the different resources like the show yourself that you all have, people are exploring and learning. And when it comes to social media and everything else, everything's dumbed down to about 6-second videos. People don't listen and sit down, so they think. And anything that you speak about on your cell phone pops up as an ad. And they're trying to sell you something, and the market's up, and inflation and gas and this and that. But at the end of the day, I'm old school, like I said. I grow gardens. I got gardens all over the country, all over the globe. But at the end of the day, save the seeds. Where are the seeds in the crops? Seedless watermelons, seedless tomatoes. If you cut a tomato and there's seeds in it, plop it in a pot with the proper soil, you'll eat and not shop anymore. And I feel, I don't know who they are, but they want people to be dependent. And I don't see it working that well for them. Because everybody's coming together in my little world. Down here in Jacksonville, we're coming together. And this is my neighbor who did the photo bomb. Yeah, we have each other's back. And all the neighbors, they can't wait to hear this interview. And we're all veterans. He's Army and I'm Air Force, so I win. I'm smarter. But still, I heard that. But yeah, behaving. But yeah, it's just They want us needy and dependent. And we built this country together. Ellis Island alone. Streets lined with gold, and they were put in ghettos. Slavery, no blacks, no Irish, no Asians, no dogs. But we're all getting along. And it's always a new fear. And I'm not afraid of anything. So, nice to meet everybody.
Well, you know what? What you're saying really makes a lot of sense. Because when you look at it, you know, if you get people afraid, they're very easy to control. And but like you said, what's important is to realize how this country got to be free and really is a wonderful place, and needs to be protected because it got that way by working together. I haven't seen any family in the world be perfect, and no matter who they are, I don't see any family who doesn't have arguments. So I think it would be like some kind of pie in the sky to think that we're never going to have arguments amongst people who are not even in a family. But you make a great point. And you know what? We have so much we got to cover, but we've had such a good time. We're almost out of time on the show. And we only have about 45 seconds. So in that 45 seconds, what I want to ask you, what is the message that you want to deliver to those people out there watching this show on what has to happen in our country in 2023? Go ahead, Nikki.
Family values, respect the elders, listen to each other, learn to communicate, love thy neighbor, and remember how to laugh in old school and make it happen. Everybody has a skill. Find the skill in somebody. Somebody can sew, somebody can cook, somebody can do this. Make it work. That's simple.
Absolutely. You know what? I think what you just said is profound. People may think it's simple, but it's so true. Make it work. I like that. You said not wish it worked, not pray for it to work, but make it work. For those of you watching this show, obviously we're going to have Nikki back on again, but I know you've enjoyed it like I have. Let's make it work. Let's respect each other, like she said. Let's work with each other. And let's, in 2023, make a better country. Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
This show was sponsored by A Time for Truth Foundation Incorporated as a community service.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your feet